Boys. YouTube, what's poppin', baby? You already know what time it is. It's your boy, Chef Zay. It's your boy, Aaron A. Jacobs. As you can see on my screen, I don't even need to do no introductions. Let my man is on the screen now. My man is on the screen. You already know what time it is. Divisional round playoffs. It's episode, what is this, 7, 8? What are we on now? We're on episode, let me pull that up actually. We're on episode 7. Holy crap. We're flying through these. Anyway, hey, Ron, how you feeling today, man? I know you can't see me, but I can see you, and we can see you, and you look good. You know what I'm saying? Even with the bad lighting, we still looking sexy. Hello? Hello? Jesus Christmas. Anyway, how you doing, man? Was this the craziest weekend ever, though? Like I was actually trying to go back and think about all of the like some of the past playoff games and some of the weekends, and like nothing like jumps out at me because we've seen some good Super Bowls obviously, but like I can't think of a game in the playoff run like dang, this game was freaking crazy. Hold on, they can't hear you. They said I dropped the ball. Yeah, I think that's on my end. Hold on. Dang, this game was freaking crazy. Hold on. Yeah, okay, they don't have you on there. All right, that's on my end, I think, through the Discord. Give me one. Let me try to figure that out. YouTube, what's up with y'all? Jay, Bard, what's up, baby? Too much. Lorenzo, what's up with you, bro? Jason, welcome back, baby. Herm, what's up with it? Yeah, I know. I'm working on it right now. Give me 1 second. I don't know why output device. Um, say something now.
Yo, what up, what up, what up?
All right, can you guys hear that?
You guys hear me?
It's my YouTube
Bard,
is
what's up,
delayed,
baby?
so
Too
we're
much.
gonna
Lorenzo,
see.
what's up with you, bro? Jason, welcome back, baby.
I'm hoping that
Yeah,
that's.
Herm,
Did that
what's up
fix
with
it?
Yeah, I know. I'm working on it right now. Give me 1 second.
I
I
don't
don't
think so.
know
I mean, at least
why
this is
output
comments in there. I'm
device.
gonna keep talking though until
Oh.
to see if they can hear anything I'm saying.
Hold on. We're fixing technical difficulties. Say something now.
Yo, what up, what up, what up?
There we
I
go. We
think
got
now
it.
they
Yeah, we
can.
got it. We got it. We got it. We're good. We're good.
You're
We're good. Yo, Chad, we got him on, baby. He got the cam. And look, we got the cam. Look, it only took 7 episodes, but it's good though because what matters is that we've been getting this talking, and we were talking about the craziest games, and we were trying to figure out if there was a game that has been as crazy as the game that we witnessed last night, or has there been a playoff week that's been crazy like this? Period. Because I mean, the playoffs haven't disappointed this year, to be honest.
No, I mean, definitely not. I like I said, I couldn't think. I know they couldn't hear me, but I couldn't think of two games back to back that finished the way that those two did yesterday. I mean, don't get me wrong, Saturday was unexpected. I know we're going to get more at the details, but I haven't like back to back divisional games to end like that with you know. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of a better weekend. And last night's game was just I was messaging you during the game. I was at a loss for words for what I saw. So
It's literally everything. You know how usually sometimes it's like we hype stuff up and it's like, man, this game's gonna be crazy. It should be high scoring, this and that, and then the game gets here and it's like, yeah, it's not really anything special. But both of these games, well, I would say Kansas City lived up to it all the way through, and the Rams Bucks game lived up to it the last what 7 minutes of the game,
yeah, something like that.
something like that.
I mean, listen. If you go back and watch the VOD, I told you that Chiefs. I was off on the score by minuscule amount of points, and I obviously picked the wrong team because I just suck at picking. But um, I told you that game was going to be electric. I had a feeling, and it just lived up to all the hype and more. So
Well, we'll get into what we'll I guess we'll finish with that game and we'll take it from the top. Cincinnati
cool.
versus Tennessee. Now it wasn't as high. It wasn't as boring as the San Francisco and Green Bay game because I just felt like it was. I don't know. It just didn't have that boring feel. Like the defense is actually the way that they were battling back and forth on defense was kind of entertaining in a sense. And when Joe Burrow is on the field, and I wouldn't say it was entertaining watching him get hornswoggled, but it's like
Swaggle. That's the word.
watching these defenses go back and forth and how they came out to play was everything that you would expect. Well, not really expect from the Bengals, but expect from the Titans. And man, Joe Burrow nine times and still throws for 348. I mean, what more can you say about this kid? Honestly, he's too good.
He's the second player in NFL history to win a playoff game being sacked 9 or more times. So I mean that should tell you how good he is and everything you need to know about the Bengals. I mean, listen, I think a lot of that game, like I know we're on a Joe Burrow kick here lately. Obviously, Joe Shiesty. There's nobody who I've spoken to who tells me they're not in some way cheering for Joe Burrow. But I also think we have to take into account here that Ryan Tannehill really lost the Titans the game at the end of the day. Like there were a lot of things that went into it, but to lose a game when your defense has 9 sacks shows just how tragic Ryan Tannehill was. And I no longer want to hear that Ryan Tannehill's in the top 15-10 discussion of quarterbacks because now he's fallen off that for me. I mean,
I didn't
your
even know
thoughts
that
on
was in
Tannehill?
discussion.
What is that?
I didn't know he was getting high praise like that. Top 10.
I mean, you've heard people say he's lingering around that area, top 10, top 15.
Boy.
To me, he looked average.
All right, throw in this real quick. Tannehill or Baker now?
It's close.
It's close. I mean, I guess you pick your poison, right?
I mean, it's close, honestly. I mean, this guy threw 3 interceptions yesterday, and it wasn't like so. If you look at the stats, right? Because like Burrow threw a pick too, but Burrow threw a pick that hit off Samaje Perine's hands and into the defenders. So like that's not Burrow's fault. His running back should have caught the ball. So at the end of the day, if you're not counting that, Tannehill, both his picks were into one was a cornerback blitzing off the edge and just like tipped the ball up in the air to himself because Tannehill threw a horrible ball. And then the other ones were in like double, triple coverage. So it's the decision making. And Tannehill's been in the league too long to make those type of decisions, especially in a playoff game.
So he just folded basically is what we're boiling it down to is he just folded.
No, he folded. Yeah, he definitely folded. And I mean, not for nothing, watching Henry yesterday, I mean, Derrick Henry averaged like 3 yards a carry, so he wasn't 100% for sure.
And Jamar Chase and Burrow are still cheat codes. That's nothing new.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Chase, even though he didn't score a touchdown, he's just involved in the game so much. He's Joe Burrow's bailout guy. It's between, I mean, the whole Bengals offense is just scary. Like, I don't want to say that the next week's game is good. I mean, I know we'll do a separate podcast on that, on predictions for next week, but I think the Bengals defense is obviously going to have to really step up to the plate. But it's like, that offense is going to keep them in any game. And I don't think if the Chiefs take them lightly, it could end up being a problem. I'll say that.
The way I'm feeling is like, I'm almost wondering like, when is this stuff going to wear out? Like what we're witnessing right now. I don't think people understand that we have never witnessed the caliber of talent and the high-powered offenses. Like, yeah, we had Favre. He was amazing. Brady, obviously, in his first half of his career, had his Randy Moss season. Kurt Warner had the greatest show on turf. You had them. I mean, I'm trying to think of some other high-powered offenses. Like you had some. Peyton Manning had a couple high-powered offenses with Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. Donovan McNabb that one season with T.O. They had a really great offense. But there's never been more talent than we've had right now in today's football. And everyone is so good. And then you're always expecting it's like, okay, well, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can't continue to look this good forever. And then here they go time and time again. They prove that they're just as good as they were the week before. And the same thing with Mahomes. It's been 4 straight years at the AFC Championship. And we've been sitting here like, okay, Mahomes is going to come down to earth one of these days. No, he hasn't. Tyreek Hill is still on Mars. Travis Kelce thought he was aging, and all of a sudden he just peeled off the shell and has got a whole new life going. It's like these guys are so good. It's almost like we're witnessing a dream. Like, because I don't understand how they can keep this up and sustain it for so long, but then you turn your head and it's like another team out of nowhere is gonna be good. Like Debo Samuel really came out of nowhere for real. So I just think we're in a really special time of football right now.
For sure. And I think that the other thing you have to keep in mind is the reason why I think Chase and Burrow have a chance to be good for a long time is because of the other. I'm not discrediting their connection, obviously, because going back to college and all that. But it's not like you can just game plan to double Chase the whole game with man over the top because you have Higgins and Boyd right
Mm-hmm.
there, and they're not going anywhere either. So it's like if you have to deal with that offense for a long period of for an extended period of time and they all stay together. I mean, I think I messaged you this. I was like, if they figure out the offensive line situation and just get him a little bit more help,
It's
the
over.
league's in trouble. The league's in trouble for a long time. Honestly, the AFC's in trouble.
I referenced this. I don't remember what podcast it was, but I referenced it a couple shows ago. And what we're witnessing right now is the new era of Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, um, uh, um, Roethlisberger, Aaron, like that era. So you got Mahomes, obviously would be the Brady, Peyton Manning, however you want to cut it. You've got Joe Burrow, who isn't the flashiest guy, but is just as smart as everybody. So you kind of like Peyton Manning esque. You've got Justin Herbert, who just is he's gonna get him one because he's that guy.
I was just
And,
going to say her.
and then and then it's just like, and
Yeah, there's a lot of talent.
I referenced the Mahomes to like Aaron Rodgers because it's like he's the one guy that you think he does like a no look pass, and Aaron Rodgers probably the only guy that makes stuff look effortless as easy as Mahomes does. And then as far as the brains, you've got Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is every part of the brain that you want in a quarterback. And if you can take 9 sacks in a game and still find a way to win it, you can be my quarterback every day of the week times 5. So it just makes me sick, honestly.
Not to mention, I don't want to hear people say anymore that drafting a kicker isn't important because the Cincinnati Bengals picked their kicker in the 5th round, and a lot of people consider that early for a kicker. Now, obviously,
We drafted a kicker
wanna,
too, and look how that worked.
right. But that's on. So wait a second though. But this kicker is on the sideline, and before when Joe Burrow gets them into range, and Joe Burrow's coming off to the sideline, he looks at Joe Burrow and goes, "Looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game." That's the kicker I want. That's the guy
I wish
want.
I could
want
find.
that kicker.
I was listening to the radio, and I wish I could find it. They praised this guy. I say it every time, and I'm gonna always say it because it's like my Mitchell Trubisky and Kareem Hunt story. They called that this kid was going to be special way before the season started, and no one ever talked about it. And it's like I drafted him because I'm like, they're like, this guy can make 50 yarders in his sleep. He can kick 60 yarders like it's his job. And it's like, I'm telling you now, we might be witnessing the next Justin Tucker. He's that good. I mean, if he's, I mean, that was a 52 yarder, and it had an extra 10 yards to go.
He hit a 54 yarder earlier in the game easily, and the last one was 52. And I mean, if you're going out there with that confidence at a 52, and you're like, oh, we're going to the championship game, that guy's the net. Yeah, next.
That's what you got to look for. From now on, you mold it after if these guys can't walk up to the play and they don't got quarterback confidence, I don't want them on my team. Period.
100%. Yeah, that's the guy. That astonished me too. I was just like, yo, I don't know.
I don't know. That has to be the Joe Burrow effect though, because I just sense too much. Like Joe Burrow has that swag, and then you see it in Joe and Chase. He got his own swag. Then Mixon, he fits perfectly with their swag. And now you got the kicker coming in swaggy. It's like somebody in that room is radiating swag. And I'm thinking that it's got to be Joe Burrow because they playing with too much confidence right now, which is great. You want to play with confidence, but I think the Bengals. I think this fairy tale is gonna come to an end pretty soon. But obviously, we'll get into that
I
later.
mean, yeah. You want to jump over to 49ers Packers? Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that game. I mean, I just jotted down some quick stats. If you want to go through them real quick, I mean, I'll rattle them off and then give me some thoughts. So Jimmy Garoppolo, 11 of 19, 131 yards and a pick. Debo, 83 total yards. Kittle, 63 yards. Rodgers, 20 for 29, 225. Um, Aaron Jones had 129 receiving yards, 41 rushing.
Sheesh.
Devontae had 9 catches for 90 yards. One thing I took note from these stats is that so Jones and Adams were really the only two involved in the offense for the Packers the whole game. Like Lazard had 1 catch, and Mercedes Lewis had a catch, and the 1 catch he fumbled. So like, I mean, that I just thought that was like noteworthy at least. And obviously how that game kind of came to the controversy at least is that the Packers were on their 12 getting ready to punt, and San Francisco blocked the punt, returned it for a TD, tied the game. And then from there, we just went back and forth with a defensive battle. And obviously Robbie Gould finished it off with a field goal, and then said, F the Packers in his post-game interview.
Did he
walking
say
off the
that?
field. So yeah, you didn't hear that?
I
He was
did.
talking to all his teammates when they congratulated him, and he was like, F the Packers. He started patting everybody on the chest.
Wow.
I was like, oh, all right, hey. But so do you have any thoughts on this? I know obviously this was like the lackluster game of the week,
Yeah, this game
the
was
weekend,
trash.
but
I got 2
I mean-
questions and I got a comment first, because the comment I'm
Okay.
gonna say is Packers F y'all. Like Gold said, F y'all. You know why? Because my dumb ass put a live bet on y'all right before the kick went off, and I lost money because of y'all dumb ass. I'm not even gonna get into it. Just know I'm never betting with y'all again, and I hope Aaron Rodgers leaves y'all for something better, because y'all is worthless and y'all are pieces of okay? Now with that being said, the question that I'm gonna ask first, we'll keep it in the Green Bay side. Is Aaron Rodgers now considered the greatest regular season quarterback we've ever seen? But when it comes to playoffs, he's nowhere near as good as he once was, because this is starting to be the stigma that's in the air around him. And the person that comes to mind when I think about this is Peyton Manning. But obviously Peyton Manning did find a way to go out on top. So before Peyton Manning did go out on top, Peyton Manning was also known as the greatest regular season quarterback we've ever saw. Has Aaron Rodgers now taken over that title as the greatest regular season quarterback we've ever seen?
I don't think he's. I mean, no, he definitely. This definitely hurt. You know what I mean? Like as far as Packers fans goes, like this definitely hurt Aaron Rodgers' legacy, if you will, in my opinion. Like I don't know that it makes him the greatest regular season quarterback ever, because obviously, like you said, there's been other guys that have put up numbers, and Rodgers does have a Super Bowl, and there's other players out there that were great quarterbacks that don't have a Super Bowl. So I think it's tough to say the best regular season quarterback ever without success in the postseason. I mean, I definitely do think this diminishes his legacy a little bit as far as Packers go. Because, like, if you look at it statistically, like, Brett Favre had a better postseason record than Aaron Rodgers did. So, take that and do with it what you will. So
I just don't see how do you let this slip away? Like, I know you're not the one punting, and I know you're not the one blocking, but like, you're Aaron Rodgers. You've came around with you've held your head with this confidence all season, and then out of nowhere, you like, I don't want to say you dropped the ball, because you were 20 of 29. I mean, you looks like you're completing your passes, but I mean, like you said, you pointed out, Adams and Jones were literally the only offense, and that's not Aaron Rodgers. Like, no Lazard, 1 catch
No.
for a buck for 6. Now is Randall Cobb, a guy that you
Randall Cobb.
pleaded to have back on this team, 0 catches.
Right.
Granted, Marquez was out, but this was not the Aaron Rodgers game that we was expecting, and this just wasn't Aaron Rodgers. It's almost like like I said, like I told you in chat on Twitch, how I was like, what if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Super Bowl and just says, F you, I'm out? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not winning it type thing. This was almost like this was that game. It's like, look, let's see what you can do with me playing mediocre and me and I'm my best. And if we can get it done, we'll carry forward next year. If not, I'm gone. And I think it was one of those smartest guys in the room tests. I'm gonna play this game and you're gonna play it with me. And I think Aaron Rodgers, that's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know how you let this game slip away, especially when the other guy on the other side goes to 11 of 19, a $131 for an interception. Like, that just doesn't make sense, you know?
Yeah, I think that Rodgers definitely let this one slip away. And like, there will be people out there, there'll be Packers fans, there'll be people who will say, "Oh, well, this was the point. Like, he needed more help. He needed another wide receiver. Not Randall Cobb. He needed to draft one." And this is what his whole, argument with the Packers front office was for years now, is that they were only drafting defensive players. Well, not for nothing, but your defense played really well yesterday against, albeit maybe probably the worst offensive team in the playoffs this year. If you want, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the Niners, but I think statistically they were probably the worst offense of this bunch of teams that we saw this past weekend. But I just think, I don't think it's a help thing for Aaron. Like, I think there's enough there to get the job done to go to a championship game. I think that they were
enough to win 12
Super Bowl
games,
contenders.
13 games, right?
Right. You won 13 games. And not for nothing, the other two things is that, like, so you lost at home, and people will also say, like, oh, the weather played a factor because it was snowing and it was really cold, like 2 degrees with wind chill and, 1 degree with wind chill. But, like, not for nothing, you played and won 8 home games this year, didn't lose at home until the postseason. You fought for that home playoff, right? And then you lost in your own element. Like, that's not an excuse.
Exactly.
You should know. You should know how to play in that weather if that's your home turf. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's no way that that's a valid argument to be made that the weather was so bad. Like, I don't want to hear that either. So, like, I just think they found, not for nothing, they had them. And then your special teams really is what lost you the game ultimately, because you got a punt blocked.
Mm-hmm.
But Rodgers couldn't get you down the field for another field goal to put the game out of reach.
I mean, Mahomes had 13 seconds and did it, so I don't want to hear that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's excuses at that point. I just think they didn't play well enough. They came out flat off 2 weeks and, didn't look good. I mean, Aaron Jones looked good. Devontae Adams did what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else showed up.
Yeah, like Jason saying, he said they played a Cali team. They should be used to playing in the snow. He said, did you see how he was smiling and did the little rock star thing as he was walking off the field? I did see that. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's gonna be a lot this is gonna be like an NBA offseason, or NBA trade deadline. There's gonna be a lot of excitement. It may not happen quick, but as soon as the first domino falls, oh man, it's going to be a cluster of moves, and I'm excited because I know the Browns will be players in it. Honestly, I think there'll be players all over the NFL, so it's gonna be a fun offseason for sure. All I know is Aaron Rodgers better stay his butt out of the AFC North unless it's to the Browns.
I don't know where Rodgers is gonna go. Like, that's the thing. Like, with Rodgers and his personality and everything, like, people are saying, oh, he's gonna go to Pittsburgh. Oh, he's gonna go to Denver. Aaron Rodgers could go host Jeopardy. We don't know what Aaron Rodgers is thinking right now. Like, nobody knows. Aaron Rodgers doesn't know.
He'll
what's crazy? He'll make a decision come 2 days before the offseason starts and then tell everybody. Or he'll wait till the summer.
His personality does fit the Steelers, though. That's what's so nasty about it. Like, could you imagine Mike Tomlin with Aaron freaking Rodgers?
Right.
With Najee Harris? With Clay. I mean,
Deontay Johnson.
Bro, they've got. I mean, you want to talk about the Bengals receiving core? You're gonna be talking about Claypool, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, the tight end that they just got. Like, Aaron Rodgers is gonna have so many people to throw to, and it's like, bro, I don't know. We had to deal with Ben Roethlisberger for 18 years. I can't deal with A-Rod for 4 more. Like, please don't do this to me. Just don't do it.
I hear the pain in your voice.
Bro, man.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think anybody knows. I don't think Rodgers knows at this point. I think it could just be anywhere,
Anywhere he wants, really, that he sees the win.
Right.
And then
wherever
it's
he
like,
wants.
and then it's like,
I
oh,
do think Devontae Adams is going to go play in Vegas with
with
Derek
Carr,
Carr.
I've been seeing a lot of that too. I've been seeing a lot
I
of
don't.
that.
I don't think he follows Rodgers wherever Rodgers goes.
I
I think he
think
goes and plays with Carr.
I think he follows if it makes sense, but if not, well, if you think he's gonna follow Derek Carr, that brings Cleveland into play because
All right.
Derek Carr, like I'm just saying, they're gonna clean house. They're either gonna the GM's either gonna love Derek Carr or they're just gonna quote unquote move in another direction. And
Right.
I mean, let's
Actually,
be honest though. How many holes can you plug? Because let's be honest, it was a miracle that Oakland got here in the first place, right? Like we can agree that they shouldn't have even made it to the playoffs.
Vegas.
That's what I'm saying. Well, so maybe they,
Vegas.
I don't. Yeah, then you put it like that, then it's like maybe he does stay. Maybe they do find a way to get him in somehow. But I just don't see. There's too many. You can't think like the window's open within the next couple years if you're a
No.
GM with going into the Raiders situation. So if you think he follows Carr, I mean Browns are a play.
I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of speculation to be had. We got to see what happens this offseason first, But it's like,
wait, before you say, Herman made a good point. He said, if I'm Rodgers, I ain't coming to the AFC. Burrow, Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, stay in the NFC.
right. I was actually just about to say that, like, that's a great point, because if you think about it, like, there's now going to be speculation about, I know we're getting into that game next, but Brady retiring. So, like, your path in the NFC could definitely be easier than it would be in the AFC for sure. I mean, especially if Brady goes, I mean, you'll still have Stafford, but like
Russell might come to the
really
AFC.
Right, the AFC is just loaded. It just is what it is.
All right, well, enough of the Green Bay. I don't know how we ended up on the worst game for the longest, but let's get the heck off of that and let's get into some more exciting things. Tampa Bay Rams.
Yeah. So I'll jot out the stats again real quick, and then we could discuss. So Rams 30, Bucks 27. Stafford was 28 of 38 for 366 yards, 2 TDs and no picks. Cooper Kupp 9 catches for $183.
That boy's nasty, man.
Wait, Vizay, before I continue, what did I say on the last podcast? Who was going to eat?
I mean, Kupp went. He didn't eat. He feasted.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I knew that he was going to have a horrible matchup in that game, and it was just going to be over. Beckham, because I have to throw it into eat at you a little bit. Beckham was 6 catches for 69 yards. Nice.
That's just enough.
Brady.
To piss
Brady
me off.
was What'd you say?
That's just enough to piss me off.
Brady was 30-54 for 329, 1 touchdown and a pick. Fournette had 2 TDs. Evans with $119 and a touchdown. I think the crazy part of this game, obviously, is that the Rams were up
14.
Game they were up 20-3, and then they were up 27-6, and then they had 3 fumbles in the third and fourth quarter. So you were just sitting here going, this is reminiscent of the Falcons and the Patriots a couple years ago, where they just let them hang around, stay in the game. We've seen this script before. Tom Brady hits the ball, a couple minutes left. We know how this ends.
It's literally the Tom Brady effect, bro.
The Tom Brady effect.
So like I said, I didn't get to watch much of these games, the Sunday games. I listened to majority of the ending I listened to majority of the Bucks game on the radio, and the end of the Bills game I got to see. And when I'm listening to this game on the radio, I'm sitting there and all I could think about was Tom Brady on the sideline with his head down, and I'm like, this man is doing witchcraft right now, because they're like the announcer's like, yeah, if they get this first down and they score 3 points, 3 points is good. It's going to put him up 17. It'll be a 3-possession game. Wait a minute. He missed it. A 47-yarder. It was short. I'm like, how is a 47-yarder short? Everyone in the building thought it was good. The kicker, he's like, the kicker started to celebrate. Even he thought it was good. I'm like, Tom Brady is literally a wizard. He is manipulating the air. He is manipulating the gods of football. Something is happening right now. And then literally the next drive, they get the strip sack from Von Miller, right? And then after that, it was another.
Yes.
There was another fumble right after that on the exchange from Stafford in the center that never had a problem all season. And you thought about the Atlanta game. I thought about that too. But I'm just thinking to myself, literally, no, this does not happen to anyone else unless it's Brady. Brady will be
Yeah.
the only one to ever get a shot like this. And the fact that they pulled it off and just defense completely shit the bucket, like
Mhm.
you. I mean, how Sway? Like, do you
Yeah.
have the answers
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah, it was a matter of like I'm sitting there watching the game, and it's just obviously the Jet fan pain inside me is like, yo, I've seen this script play out time and time. Like you can't cast this any better. And it wasn't even just that because it's obviously like we said the Brady effect, but it's also like how it's happening. So like there's the missed field goal, and then there's I think so Cooper Kupp fumbled. I don't know. I was just trying to look up the stat. I wanted to see how many times Cooper Kupp fumbled this entire year. I'm pretty sure he had like one fumble the whole year. So like he fumbled the ball. And then there's an errant pass over Stafford's shoulder when he's not looking at the center. I'm like, you can't script this any better for Brady. And then they tie up the game, and you're just like, okay, so we're gonna go to overtime. There's like 47 seconds left. But no. Instead, we got, Stafford getting
Throws
the ball
a
on the 40.
dime to the Cooper Cup.
Stafford gets the ball on the 40 and just a bomb to a wide open Cooper Kupp, I should say. Cooper Kupp just destroyed that man on a straight route. I don't even know. And 44 yards, kicked the field goal. We celebrated in this house. We took shots for Brady being out of the playoffs because that's how we do. And the rest, and now we're here. So, I mean, what are your thoughts overall on this game, the numbers, all that? Brady being out,
I just
Stafford.
What I don't get is like, number one, if you're Brady, you can't go out like that. Like,
No.
everybody's talking about this retirement stuff. Bro, he threw the ball 54 times. If you look at that
54.
stat alone, you could say if Tom Brady threw the ball 54 times, there's no way they lost. I mean, there's no way they won. Or you could say there's no way you could look at it either way. But I'm thinking at age 44, there's no way you can tell me, yeah, Tom Brady threw the ball 54 times and they won. That means they were down 30, they were down something, and they were trying to come back. Because if you look at that, and then I just think it's like, do you fire the defensive coordinator? What happened at the end of that drive? It's only
No.
because like how do you
No.
let Stafford and them go down there and score when literally the whole the faith of the universe is in your hands right now, and you just completely shit the bucket.
I do think that the reason why the both of us picked the Rams over this weekend, at least it played a factor to me. You're not firing defensive coordinator. Todd Bowles has been sensational for them for 2 years. He's part of the reason it's obviously mostly Brady, but he's part of the reason why the Super Bowl was so decisive last year, being able to pressure Mahomes constantly, all that. You don't fire him. I think what really caught up with Tampa Bay is all the injuries. They're down like 5 people in the secondary since the beginning of the year. And it's like, I just think that like, I don't know who was covering Cooper Kupp on that play. I'd have to go look. I have no idea. But I'm assuming it was like your third string, slot corner. And that guy just got torched in that scenario. I don't know if they're necessarily, there's still 47 seconds. So it's not like Stafford couldn't hit a quick out and keep driving down the field as opposed to looking for the open play over the top. I just think the corner got beat bad because it's a backup. That's literally all I think it was.
So you think if you think they were just a little bit more healthy, they probably come away with this?
I think if the same scenario happens and the Bucs are mostly healthy, we're talking about a different game today. That's just me being honest with you. But the other thing I do want to say is I think that a lot of people now have to start. I think I don't want to call it hate, but like I would say that people saw the Stafford trade and were like, okay, so he upgraded over Jared Goff, obviously, right? But like, talk about a guy who just suffered for all those years on the Lions. I mean, I've watched Stafford for years, and he's always been a hell of a competitor. He played through injuries, and he was always just a tough guy, and he was a leader, you could tell. But the Lions just never did anything to get him the supporting cast he needed to actually be successful. So I think that Stafford, in a way, should have earned a lot of respect this game because to go to Tampa, injuries or not, to go to Tampa and beat Tom Brady, especially on a last drive where you threw that 44-yard pass, I don't care about the scenario. Talk about a guy, we just talked about Aaron Rodgers possibly tarnishing his legacy. Matthew Stafford's writing another one. And if the Rams go all the way and somehow find a way to beat whoever it is in the Super Bowl, I mean, I think you have to start discussing Stafford as a top, I don't know where you want to put him, but one of the top guys in the league. I don't care about the talent around him. I only care about how he plays when it matters. And, that play in that scenario, Stafford needs some respect.
Stafford definitely needs the respect. I'll be the first to give him some respect because my cousin is a Lions fan, and I ratted on Stafford for the longest, and I don't know if it was necessarily because it was just he's a Lions guy, but it's like my thought process behind it was, I mean, how are you a franchise quarterback in an organization for 10 years and you can't figure it out? You're trash. You're not a top 10 guy in my eyes. But we all know the situation that he was in, the talent he had around him. So that, that part probably plays a factor into it. But obviously you knew it was like, if you got this guy some help and the talent and some, got some help, I mean, obviously the sky's the limit for him. But I just think it goes back to my point that I made earlier when I talk about so much talent that's on the field right now. And it's like, you almost want to say it's almost fortunate enough for him to have this much talent around, but you can look around all the way around the league and everyone has this much talent. So that narrative of what he has around him just has to go out the window now because everyone is good now. Like the drop off between players isn't even that drastic anymore the way we could be like, yeah, well, Stafford basically only did this because of A, B, and C. I mean, it's like, no, he's done it because of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got an elite coach. He's got an elite pass rush, elite corners, elite receivers, a great run game, a decent line. I mean, like, there's so many things that's benefiting him that I'm just happy that he's getting an actual shot. And if he messes it up on his own, that's when we'll get the hate back for him. Because, I mean, I think everybody was ready to give him hate had he lost this game.
Yeah, I think he definitely would have got a lot of hate because I feel like a lot of people consider the Rams a super team, and obviously you look at all the pieces they have, and it's easy to see why people say that. But the truth of the matter to me is that it doesn't matter super team or not. Like that. I hate use the word super team because I don't really think the Rams. I think they have a lot of talent. Wouldn't consider them a super team. Like they're beatable. You know what I mean? But I would say that to me, like what your judgment of a quarterback is going to be how they perform when it matters most. And we're about to get into the next game, which defines that completely. And for me, I mean, you just look at the last minute of that game, there was no nerves from Stafford, drove down the field, beats Tom Brady to go to a NFC championship game. There has to be some respect put there for Stafford's name.
I think that's going to be.
And yeah, and to the people in chat that are saying he's not top five, I would agree he's not top five, but I think after this you'd have to consider him in the top 8 to 10. I mean, just because of the way a lot of people performed.
I don't even think that's a debate, though, is it? Like, he's easily top 10.
I mean, it depends. You'd have to really make a list and think about it, but.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of some quarterbacks that are better than him. I mean, obviously, you got Burrow, Herbert, Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson.
Well, all season you would say Murray.
Yep.
Would say Kyler Murray. So
that's 6 right there.
Did you say Allen?
Allen, yeah, that's 7.
Mahomes.
That already got him. So I mean,
put Mahomes in.
I mean, he's in that 8 to 10 area.
He's right in that area of him, Dak.
Yep, that's here.
He's right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's right in that range somewhere. But I think a playoff win, a Super Bowl win, a championship game win, I mean, you start to discuss, like, how much does he creep into that? Because the way Kyler Murray performed against them, you know what I mean? Like, where are you putting Murray? Because right now he's a regular season performer at this point. So
yeah, but if we're just talking about top quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we don't want to fall into the trap of well, he did it recently, so he's got to be in that conversation. It's like, no, let's take a step back and remember.
We forgot Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar, he's definitely in there. So
we forgot Lamar. That's fair. I wasn't.
There's so many good quarterbacks in the league right now. I mean, can you honestly think of a time? We're two of the older people in the chat and stuff like that. Can you think of another time where there's been this many great quarterbacks? Because I can't. There hasn't
No.
been.
No, I feel like there was a point in time where it was like you watch the NFL every year and you were like, okay, it's Peyton, it's Brady, it's like Ben, Drew Brees,
Mm-hmm.
and you were just like, from there you were kind of like, and everybody else,
Mm-hmm. You were
and it
always
was just
hoping
like,
that there was a next big thing.
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
where we're at right now, it's like Baccarat. When Baccarat has a 6 banker streak in a row, and it's like there's no way that banker comes again, and then it comes again, and it's like okay, there's no way banker comes again, and then next thing you know, it peels off 5 more in a row. That's how I feel with these quarterbacks and this talent. It's like when it's like there's no way we're gonna continue to draft these many great players, and that's why I'm anxious to see this year because everyone's downgrading this quarterback class. There's no way the rate that it's been going. There's no way all of these quarterbacks are bust, right? Like there's no way.
This past year,
The year that's coming up, this draft class that's coming in, like just at the rate that it's been going, someone
wait,
has to be good.
the one that's coming in,
The
or
one that's coming in,
2021?
yeah, the one that's coming in.
Oh, I mean, I think this is going to be a down year for quarterback. I mean, that's just me though. Again, I'm not Mel Kiper. I don't know any of these guys from a hole in the wall. All I'm going to know is what I see on, what do they call it, the combine and all that. So like, but I just think everything you're hearing statistically, it's like this year's a down year for quarterbacks. Next year's going to be the big one with the kid from
Bryce
Alabama
Love,
coming
yep.
out and someone else.
Ohio
So it's
State's
like,
quarterback too.
I mean, but even to your point, I mean, you have to look at this year's quarterback class as well. You know what I mean? I mean, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Mac Jones made the playoffs.
I mean, he's a baller. He's legit.
Right. I mean, so you have to look at it and say all of them have their own situations going on, but like you have to think like probability wise, one or two of them probably have to be good. The whole draft class is not going to be a bust.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, who's going to be the next one to step up? God, I hope it's Wilson.
I mean, you guys, everything I'm hearing, it sounds like they like him a lot, and he stepped it up the last few games of the year too, which is what you love to see. So I think Zach, I think you guys might for at least 3 years you got something to work with, right?
I don't. It's the Jets at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And like I've just come to that reality that, I mean, they just have to do better around these quarterbacks they draft. I don't care who it is. I know Darnold was a bust, but like you have to do better around these guys. And Joe Burrow's the point of that. You know what I mean? So like you got him the guys he wanted. You got him his college teammate who was elite. And then look at what happened. You know what I mean? All it takes is that guy. That's the start. And then you put around him what he needs, and it could transform your whole team in the course of a year. And that's just living proof.
So we'll end off this with Jay's comment of his top quarterbacks: Rodgers, Wilson, Murray, Jackson, Mahomes, Allen, Dak, Watson, Burrow, and he said don't disrespect Cousins. So he named 10 quarterbacks that he thinks is better than Matt Stafford. I would agree with all of that except Cousins. I do think all of those quarterbacks are probably better. I think you could debate Burrow and Herbert and Stafford as well, only because of Herbert's young. He's younger. Give it a little bit more to prove. Dak, I think you could debate. He was being lower on that one.
Sure.
But
you could debate that.
All the other ones, yeah. But all the other ones, I think are pretty right on the money. That they're definitely better than Stafford. So
sure, but Stafford plenty good enough to take you to a championship game.
Oh no, 100. I mean, Jared Goff played good enough to get you to a championship game. He wasn't even in the top, So
that's what I'm saying. If you can get there with Jared Goff, you can win one with Stafford.
Yep. All right, let's get into the game of the freaking year. This is the game of the year by far. I mean, I don't even think it's close at this point. What's the game of the year is?
Yeah. This game was just crazy. I'll rattle off some of the stats. We can go through it if you want. So obviously 42-36 Chiefs. Who was it in chat? Jason, I don't want to hear you talk to me about how you said the Chiefs were going to win because the Bills had so many chances to win this game. That's all I'm going to say. And then we leave it at that. But Chiefs 42, Bills 36. Mahomes, 33 or 44, 378 yards, 3 TDs. Hill, 11 catches for 150 and a touchdown. Kelsey, 8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen was 27 of 37 for 329 and 4 touchdowns. He also had 11 carries for 68 yards, which led the team. Gabriel Davis had 8 catches for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's the most incredible game.
In playoff
flabbergasted
history, right?
is the only word.
I mean,
I don't even know.
What's funnier about that is like take that away, and you look on the other side. It's like Tyreek Hill, 11 for $150. That's ridiculous too.
Yeah, I think one of the things that also, I mean, obviously, I'll just read off the last couple stats here. So like both teams combined for 25 points in the final 2 minutes of the game. 13 seconds left to play. The Bills were up 3. Gave Mahomes the ball back. I don't even remember where. Something like the 25, 30, whatever it was. 2 plays, and you got enough yardage, including a 25-yard pass to Kelsey, and you were able to get in the field goal range to tie the game and go into overtime. To me, the game was crazy. One other stat that I saw that was eye-popping, I don't want to read too much into it, I guess, but I don't have the exact stat line in front of me, but Stephon Diggs was like 3 catches for 7 yards.
That's
obviously
crazy.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
No, I said, yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, obviously, you have to think that Stephon Diggs was just kind of being used as a decoy to an extent because Gabriel Davis went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I just think that's eye-popping that, Stephon Diggs, who everybody considers a top 5, top 3 receiver in the league, had 3 catches for 7 yards, and the Bills had a chance to win. So, I mean, yeah, I guess taking all that into account, go ahead. Give me your thoughts of what I mean, obviously, this is a crazy game, so any thoughts you have on the game?
Well, if you're like me and you didn't watch the first 3 quarters, all you needed to see was the last 5 minutes. I mean, you literally got your money's worth if you just watch the last 5 minutes of the game because there was so much stuff on there. I have to tip my hat off to Josh freaking Allen. When I watch this guy in the last 5 minutes, I've said it to AA Ron all day yesterday, and I'm gonna continue to harp on this. He looked like LeBron freaking James in a freaking football uniform. The pocket was collapsing as fast as you could freaking step back. He evaded pressure. He stepped up. He got rid of the ball when he needed to. He ran for it when he needed to. He had that killer instinct vibe in his eyes. And everything about it was, I am going to yield you guys to victory at all costs. Whether it be whatever I have to do, I'm going to get you there. And then on the 2-point conversion, how was that even completed? Like, I mean, he drops back and he already has got 3 defenders in his face, rolls out, makes the guy stumble, and you think he's about to run it, pump fakes it, and then there's freaking Stephon Diggs in the back of the end zone for the toe tap. It's just like what I witnessed from him was just it was Patrick Mahomes-esque, but it felt like LeBron James when I was watching because it's like he is literally grasping this games by the balls and is just manhandling every possession that he had, and he never squandered any opportunity. So I have to tip my hat off to him because he looked as good as any quarterback in the league. Like these past 2 weeks, if you ask me who's the best quarterback in the league right now, I'd have no problem saying Josh Allen at all because he's played up to that caliber and he's played up to that level. I mean, 9 touchdowns or what is it, 8 or 9 touchdowns in 2 games. That's a record I think I heard them say. So that's ridiculous in itself. You pointed out to the Stephon Diggs with the 3 receptions, 7 yards. One thing that tells me is like, if you can do that without Stephon Diggs, you can't sit here and tell me Stephon Diggs made Josh Allen. You can't tell me that Stephon Diggs or these receivers did this. Josh Allen created this self in the organization, however you want to put it. I mean, but everybody got the ball. They rolled the hot hand. Buffalo played a phenomenal game all the way up until 13 seconds left. When it comes to that point, I don't want to hear about changing the overtime rule. I don't even want to get into that right now. We can save that for another day. You had one job. All you have to do is stop them for 13 seconds and you are on your way to the AFC Championship. In my eyes, you deserve to lose it. Because if you couldn't stop them in 13 seconds, I don't care what you did the previous 4, you deserve to lose the game. You got ahead, you put the cart in front of the horse, and it bit you in the ass. So, great game, but the Chiefs earned that victory 100%. Bills deserve to lose. I don't care about the overtime rule. You got 13 seconds, stop them. It's plain and simple.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with anything that you said. I think I'll start out with the same thing you did. I'll flip it first, though. I want to give credit where credit is due. And Mahomes balled out. I mean, both quarterbacks balled out. I mean, 378 and 3 TDs is crazy. Patrick Mahomes showed why he's the best quarterback in football right now.
Wait, let me clarify that real quick. They showed why he's the $500 million man. Make that correct, okay?
Right.
He's $500 million, half a beat.
That I don't care. I think I looked at the numbers one time, and Patrick Mahomes makes some absurd amount of dollars every
second
minute. He's worth every penny. It doesn't matter. He's worth every penny. More.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes played great. He matched Allen. Basically stat line for stat line. The reason why you see a difference in stats is because Mahomes got the last drive of the game, whereas other than that, the numbers were virtually right on top of each other as far as everything else goes. But Mahomes, I mean, he went crazy. Tyreek Hill looked unstoppable, especially on that play where he ran a little seam and just beat everybody to the end zone.
Or what about the punt? What about the punt return? What about the punt return that he never does?
Yeah. I mean, the punt return, Tyreek Hill's just he's the fastest. I mean, he's the fastest player in football, and it shows. He's dynamic playmaker. Hasn't been returning punts. Returned that one and just did it seamlessly.
No, he did it twice too because they got a penalty on the first one, and then he doubled back and did it again.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Travis Kelce showed why. To me, I mean, listen, there's arguments to be made, but best tight end in football. Yes, I mean, I don't know if that's debatable either. I mean,
I don't think it's debatable, honestly.
But best tight end in football, balled out as well. It's crazy. But I do want to say, being that obviously everybody in here knows I'm a Jets fan, my heart broke for Josh Allen last night. It's hard for me to say. I was literally watching him, and I was like, this dude, the way he played, he deserved to win the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was watching him on the bench, and I was like, there's nothing more this guy could have done for this win to happen. And he still lost. So I don't know how he's going to take it. I know we talked about in the last podcast, them looking at the confetti rain down on the field, and we thought it was going to be different and all that. And to me, I think this one's going to sting for the Bills for a while. Two things I do want to point out is that, like you said, 13 seconds left. You gave the Chiefs the ball to 25. You're the number one defense in football this past year. Make a stop.
Mm-hmm.
One stop.
All you literally
need one stop.
I mean, nano blitz at that point.
Ended the game. You need to really, as a coaching staff, need to think about what play call you made, and whatever you did was, I don't have formations in front of me and exactly what they did, but whatever you did, absolutely wrong. Because obviously you just shit the bucket, for lack of a better term. And then the second thing I want to say that I kind of thought was debatable was when you're kicking off in that situation with 13 seconds left on the clock, was there not even a thought to do a little, I don't know what you want to call it, like a squib kick
yeah,
where the ball's kind of straight up in the air, just where you're kind of making them return it and then taking time off the clock, hoping to get the ball to the 30, but maybe you only have 6, 7, 8 seconds left as opposed to 13, give them one less play type thing. Those are the two things that I really questioned were, towards the end of the game, maybe the coaching staff just didn't do a good enough job. But, I mean, again, shout out to Kansas City. That game was crazy. I've never seen that was the craziest game. I was speechless after the game. Didn't even know, couldn't put words together. I felt for Josh Allen. It made me appreciate the player that Mahomes is.
A little bit more.
Even though I'm starting to lean towards disliking him because he's so good. Is that a thing?
It's like the Warriors effect with Steph Curry. Literally.
I don't mean to sound like that, but it's almost to the point where you're all right, we get it. You're good. Okay, we understand. But no, I mean, obviously it's crazy.
I mean, I think the last shout out to that, since you're still on the Chiefs, we got to tip our hat to Andy Reid. I mean, this guy finds a way. I mean, Pringle, McKinnon. I mean,
McKinnon.
last year it was Harden and Watkins. I mean, can any coach tap into talent as well as Andy Reid? This guy is unfreaking. I mean, and then you talk about McKinnon again, 10 carries on top of the 5 catches that he had. He's getting Mykal Harmon running the ball. Patrick Mahomes ran it 7 times. I mean, his knack for the offense and how good he can get the best use of his talent is just, I think you talk about McVay's usually the one that gets all the credit for being this offensive genius, but man, Andy Reid is so good. I mean, I don't think there's anybody better at tapping into talent than he is.
Oh, for sure. I mean, McKinnon was an afterthought at this point. A lot of teams wrote him off. I remember he was on the Niners a couple of years ago, I think, if I'm not, and I know he was on the Vikings and the Niners, but he tore his ACL and people started writing him off. And then Andy Reid brings you in, and all of a sudden you're a piece to a contending team again. You know what I mean? And you're playing a vital role. That to me is just knowing players, knowing personnel, knowing how to use everything that you have. And Andy Reid, I mean, can't say enough about him as a. I mean, I think you and I said whoever won this game was going to go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to discredit Joe Shiesty, but I just think whoever won this game was going to the Super Bowl. And to me, looking at the opponents, I don't know. I think there's a good shot that the Chiefs have it all this year. Again,
the Chiefs better pray that the Rams don't go. That's the only thing I'm going to say, because they're the only one I think that could. The 49ers aren't beating them.
The Rams have a shot, but Stafford's got to be clicking on all cylinders. That's all. That's all it is.
I think it's the
way
defense.
The Chiefs look. Yeah, but Mahomes, I don't know. The Bills' defense is good too, and Mahomes found a way.
See,
you know
here's
what I mean?
The thing, though. We know the Chiefs can be stopped. We've seen Belichick put the brakes on these guys. So I think the key is going to be the defense. This is what the game that we thought if anybody could do it, the Bills had the number 1 defense in the league. They should have been able to stop them at all. Well, they didn't. Granted, San Francisco probably is the best defensive. I would have to say, I don't know if they're the best defensive team right now, but they're still the hottest defensive team right now. So
they're playing the best for sure.
But I just think you mix the offense with the Rams defense. There's too many things that could cause a problem. And I sound stupid saying this the more and more I say it, because Mahomes is so damn good. Maybe it doesn't matter for their defense. You're going to have to shoot them out. Yeah, you're going to have to shoot them out because...
That's what I'm saying. I think Stafford's going to need... you're not going to sit here and tell me Stafford's not going to need at least 3 touchdowns to win this game. Maybe 4.
No, he probably
might need 4.
3. He probably will need 3.
Right. So you're going to need a minimum of 3. He didn't do that. What, did he do that this past weekend? Sorry, I'm not...
Yeah, he did.
He had
3.
He had 2 TDs.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. You're going to need Stafford to be firing on all cylinders, not have a bad interception or fumble. Any of this that happened against Tampa Bay, where this game was this close, any of this happens, that game's a wrap, if that's the game we see. There's no way. Because Mahomes just showed he needs 13 seconds to put up points.
13 seconds, bro.
It doesn't matter.
Bro,
he's
Tracy McGrady. He's Tracy McGrady in football.
For sure.
How do you Tracy McGrady in football? That's impossible.
It's impossible. It is. It's impossible.
Bro, you couldn't even do that on Madden.
Yeah, no, you couldn't. You couldn't. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, at this point, let me put it this way. So the Chiefs win it this year after the slow start they had to the year, right? And I know obviously they're off a year because of the Bucs win last year. But I mean, are you starting to talk dynasty?
They are a dynasty. There's no question that they're not a dynasty. I mean, what does it have to be, 5 years?
I was going to say, it depends on people's definition. I think they're supposed to win X amount of consecutive years. I don't know. But
they've been
I think the off year with the Bucs, but they've been 4 in a row, right?
Yeah, 4 AFC championships in a row. I mean, they're literally the Golden State Warriors of football.
Right. That's...
But the
That's
only
thing.
thing that's, but you know what makes them, I think what makes this Kansas City run so impressive is that they're beating, granted, the Super Bowl that they won was against San Francisco. I don't think that was a great team, even though they were up 20 or whatever they were up in the Super Bowl and still lost. But I think what makes this Kansas City run so great is that the talent that they're playing up against. I mean, they're not going against slouches every single week, especially like how we just talked about how the AFC is so loaded. Like they're beating the best talent, and then they're getting to the big game and competing or winning against some. It's just, whereas the Warriors, you got. Let's be honest. I mean, the one championship, a couple of the championships, they probably shouldn't have even had, especially the last one that they had with KD. So I just think that I guess that's the question I ask is whose run's more impressive, whose dynasty's more impressive, the Chiefs or the Warriors. I mean, I know the Warriors have more championships out of it, but I think that the path and who they have to play, I just think it's much more impressive, especially when any given Sunday you can get knocked off.
For sure. I mean, I do think it's definitely a good argument to have it. And I mean, you could look, both of them are kind of brought on in the same way, if you will. Like the Warriors draft Steph Curry, they drafted Klay Thompson, they drafted Draymond Green. So like they made that. I mean, obviously they brought in KD for one, but still
two. They brought in KD for
talented.
two.
For two, yeah. Sorry.
Don't forget, I'm a Cavs fan.
But you're, but mostly those are guys that you're drafting. It's the same way with the Chiefs. They drafted Tyreek Hill, they drafted Patrick Mahomes, they drafted Travis Kelce. They built this. So, like, to me, I think the path in either or. I mean, there's a debate to be made either way, because it's not like you could sit here and say. I mean, you could honestly say it was tougher for the Chiefs because it's more difficult to bring in. Now they're in football. I feel like it's more difficult as you get into the next contracts and stuff like that, and having to maneuver a roster around top paying Kelce, top paying Mahomes, top paying Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean?
Matthew.
Whereas I feel like in basketball, you kind of. I mean, I know Steph Curry makes. I think he has the largest contract in the NBA right now, but they find a way to make other contracts work around Steph Curry in a sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it's a little bit easier to do in basketball than it is to do in football. So I mean, I'll nod to the Chiefs a little bit in that aspect. I think that it's a more difficult dynasty to build and more impressive to me, honestly.
I do agree.
Let's just talk about one more thing because I thought it was an interesting. Like, we can kind of end it on this if you want, but like, if you're, and I think it's a good topic to discuss because of where our two teams are. So like, to me, I think I read something today that made me think about this, but like if you're the Browns or the Jets or any of these teams towards the bottom of the AFC and you're looking up at Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, you better find a way to get high-powered offenses and how much the league has changed over the past couple of years. Like these teams towards the bottom, if you're not
molding
100% molding and getting the right quarterbacks and weapons in place, you're just going to be bottom of the barrel for the next however many years with these guys at the top, the Herberts, the Burrows, all these guys, because these guys could light you up any week for 40 if they, if everything's clicking.
But to add to that though, before I lose my train of thought on that, to add to that, you also have to have the proper coaching or offensive coordinators in place because you said like the Browns. I mean, it's not that we don't have that high-powered offense. We're not tapping into the capabilities of our high-powered offense. And I think that might be the bigger factor than is just you guys better have freaking talent. Because if you got talent, Browns are the prime example of having talent and not know what to do with it. So I think that might be a little bit more of a key. Is like, make sure you got a guy at the top who is offensive mind. Well, if he's not at the top, your offensive coordinator who's running the offense is a high-powered offense guy, and he knows what he's doing. Because I think that's truly the key to it. Obviously, you need to have talent, but the Andy Reid point, you can tap into talent if you know how to work the offense.
But do you think to this aspect, and I'll ask you because I think it's an interesting discussion. Like, so if you look at the past couple of years, the Browns have been one of those teams that have given the Chiefs problems even though they've lost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was like ball control, run the ball, keep it out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, this, that, and the other thing. Do you not think that now looking at the league that you almost like, to me, it's kind of like back when the Jets were good, like you always, like you asked me a bunch of times, like, how did the Jets win when they had like Mark Sanchez? Like we've had that discussion before. And like to me, that team then was the number 2 rushing team in the league and the number 1 defensive team in the league, right? So obviously you could cover up how faulty Mark Sanchez was as a quarterback. So like to me, and I'll lay this to you as a Browns fan, you have a great defense, phenomenal young pieces, Myles Garrett, all that. You're drafting more young pieces. You run the ball phenomenally with Chubb and Hunt. But is it going to be enough to get you by the gauntlet that is Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes year in and year out? And I think ultimately it's always going to come back to Baker.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is Baker.
So basically, is Baker going to be good enough to get you past those guys year in and year out? And I think that's the Browns' biggest question heading into this year.
I don't want to answer that question.
I know, because it's impossible. It's impossible.
You know what makes me sick about watching it? It's just like, I know what I've watched. I know what I've seen with Baker Mayfield. Like, I know he can be a good quarterback. Can he be a great quarterback? I sit here and I always say to be determined. And it's like, I part of that is me being a homer. Part of that is me loving Baker. And part of that is me just being in denial. I don't know if he can be a great quarterback. So I don't want to sit here and say no, because I don't think it's fair, especially with the season that he has, especially with my take on Stefanski of what I believe and how he screwed up our offense in a sense. So it's hard for me to sit here and just distinctively say Baker can't be great, but it's also hard to deny the facts and the eye test. And every time I watch him go for a game-winning drive or a drive that you need, there was not one time when Josh Allen had that ball and I'm like, oh my God, he can't get this done. It was more so, oh my God, is the line going to get him killed? With Joe Burrow, there's not one time he has the ball and I'm watching and I'm like, yeah, Joe Burrow's not going to get this done. It's always Joe Burrow's going to find a way to get this whoever the ball, and it's going to work. But when I watch Baker, I'm always like, oh my God, Baker, just don't this up. Like, just don't throw a bad interception, or just the feeling behind it just doesn't. It's not as confident as it once was. But because you go back to the playoff year and his rookie year, I felt confidence all throughout it. I'm like, oh yeah, Baker can get us down here. He can win us this game. But like, it goes back to what I was saying was the proof is in the pudding, and it's like, I don't care. He was injured this year, I know, but you had 6 drives in these games where you could have came down, and all you had to do was just find a way to win it. And some of them weren't your fault, but some of them were your fault. And that's the difference between being a great quarterback and a good quarterback. And right now, the proof is in the pudding. He can't be a great quarterback if you cannot go down and win the game for your team. I don't care, like you said, how the Jets offense were so good with the running game, this and that. There's one thing you need to have in your quarterback, it made the Eagles win the Super Bowl too. Can your quarterback go down there and win it? Nick Foles proved that he can go in this game, drive down and win the game, no matter how trash he is. Mahomes proves that he can go down and win the game. Josh Allen proves he can go down and win the game. Lamar Jackson proves he can go down and win the game. Herbert, the list goes on and on and on. And it's like, I can't sit here and say that about Baker. As much as I want to say that about Baker, I mean, I know he's done it, but it was against the Bengals. It's the only guy he can do it against. What do you want me to go off of? So, it pains me to talk about the Baker stuff when you've got Joe Burrow. I'm so in love with Joe Burrow, man. I hate it, bro. Like, I'm really gonna get his jersey, I think, and I'm gonna find a way to get it signed.
I think we're gonna go into a spin of years here where you see people drafting quarterbacks to try and keep up with these guys, and after like year 2 or 3, you're just gonna yank the chain out from under it if it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, listen, I'm from New York. I love the Jets. I always will. They're dog shit franchise. I understand. They're making some turns. Who knows? We'll see. But to me, if I don't see Zach Wilson being able to compete on some type of level with Josh Allen next year or the year after, I'm yanking the chain on the experiment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for the Browns, it's the same thing. Like, you guys are going into year 4 with Baker. I mean, obviously, everybody knows it's make or break if Baker's back, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I just think you're going to see guys like even the Trevor Lawrences, all that. You're going to start to see, like, hey, if this guy can't cut it, cut bait. We're on to next year. We're drafting another quarterback, and we're going to see what we could do. We've never seen quarterbacks like this. They could, you know, it's going to be hard for these franchises that are at the bottom. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be crazy.
I do agree with that, man. That's why, but it, you know, the league is in good hands because there is so many good quarterbacks. I don't think we'll see a dominance of quarterbacks like we did with the Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger era. Obviously, you slip in Russell Wilson. He was in that conversation, but for the past decade, I mean, it was Tom Breeze got one. But Tom, Manning, Roethlisberger, like those were the 3 guys that you could look to. I don't think we see that. I think we see more of it with just more. I think we see 5 of them, like Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, and Jackson. Like
Jackson, right?
Murray's gonna figure it out. I think he'll figure it out. You're gonna see a lot of different guys in the Super Bowl. Like we see Jimmy Garoppolo was knocking on the door of his 2nd Super Bowl appearance. We didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about that. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But a question let's leave off with this question because it can tie into the Browns. Jimmy Garoppolo played a terrible game. We all know that. But Jimmy Garoppolo continues to win games. So my question is, does San Francisco keep Jimmy G regardless of the fact? Oh, no, let's put it this better. San Francisco goes to the Super Bowl, are you keeping Jimmy G? Because everyone has written off Jimmy G before the playoffs even started. You can't ask a 49er fan who likes Jimmy G because they don't like him. They want him gone. So if San Francisco brings them to the Super Bowl, what do you do with him?
I think you really look at how Jimmy plays these last 2 games, the championship game, and if he makes the Super Bowl, obviously. I mean, not for nothing, we're sitting here talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, who's averaging 140 yards passing over the championship games. And we're talking about these numbers in comparison to, we just got done talking about Mahomes and Allen and Brady at 92 years old, putting up 54 passes. And you're going to sit here and tell me, if you're the Niners, you drafted Trey Lance this past year. You're not going to sit here and tell me Trey Lance can do a worse job than Jimmy Garoppolo is doing this year.
But
there's no way.
Fix what's not broken? It's not broken.
I get it, but you're saying it's not broken, but he's not the reason they're winning. He's not there. The reason. He's like a fixture.
This goes right into my Baker comment. This goes right into the Baker hand, though. It's like, if you don't think you can win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, you're drunk. Because we're witnessing a guy like Jimmy G who is literally on path to his 2nd Super Bowl. This is what I'm saying. It's like we're so brainwashed as fans, as wanting to have the next best thing since sliced bread. We want the next Mahomes. We want the next Lamar Jackson, the next Allen. But it's like, pump the damn brakes. What's the goal? Is the goal to have a superstar quarterback? Or is the goal to win a Super Bowl, right? You can win a Super Bowl with a quarterback who does not lose you games. And Jimmy G, the proof is in the pudding. He does not lose you games. That's my point behind why I still like to ride with Baker, because it's like, I know Baker can win us a Super Bowl because all you need to do is surround, like everyone keeps saying, 49ers are winning because of the team, not him. Okay, well, you can win with the team that we have with the Browns, with a quarterback like Baker Mayfield. We all just want to have the flashy guy or the guy throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, that's what everyone wants. But in reality, it's like, what's the goal? To win a Super Bowl. And you cannot tell me that the 49ers cannot win a Super Bowl because he had them up 20. He had them up 20 against Kansas City, right? And now he's knocking on the door of another Super Bowl again. So I just hate that narrative behind you can't win with Jimmy G. You can't win with Baker Mayfield. You can't win with these mid-tier quarterbacks. No, you can. It just matters what's around it.
Yeah, but I think the discussion that we're having here is such a larger discussion. Like, to me, right? And we'll tie it back to the Browns since I know this is your cast and everything. But like, if you're the Browns, you're banking on your defense playing perfectly for 60 minutes against Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and I know he's done it against Burrow. They've done it against Burrow, I should say. But like an Allen and Mahomes in a playoff run. And I'm sorry, but and I'm not saying Baker can't get the job done. Because, I mean, listen, anybody gets hot. We've seen it, right? We've seen quarterbacks who get hot. Joe Flacco got hot, won a Super Bowl. It's possible. Nothing's impossible. But the thing that I'm saying is, if you're going to, whatever you want to call it, analytically, statistically wise, tell me that Baker Mayfield is going to play a run where he possibly has to play Allen, Burrow, Mahomes consecutively, Herbert consecutively, and your defense is going to be good enough to hold up all those teams, and Baker is going to be good enough. I'm not going to say Chubb and Hunt won't be good enough to control the clock because they can do that. But I'm telling you, the odds are not in your favor. Not with it,
It's only
like
because we witnessed this recency of Baker, bro. Before Baker got injured, do you know
the league's changed.
Baker was the leading percentage completion passer in the league. He was number 1 in passing completion. Like this is what people are failing to realize. It's like Baker's not the flashiest, but Baker's biggest strong suit when he's not injured is he does not turn the ball over. That's the main thing you need in your quarterback is not turning the ball over. So I just we can get into this for a whole other hour. I just wanted to just throw that out there how it was just like it's just funny how, we got a mid-tier quarterback in the conversation right now in Jimmy G, and yet he's still in the playoffs making it for a run. It's like the Browns could just as easily be in this situation. And that's why I think that Andrew Berry and Paul Podesta and all these guys still don't know. Just like I don't know. Just like nobody knows what's going on in the league next year. I don't think they know yet because there's too many cars to be unturned. And I think they think the same thing that I think. And that some of the other people think. You can win with Baker Mayfield. So that's why I don't know if we get rid of him or not, because it's like maybe they do just want to see what he does one more time when he's not injured. Because when he's not injured, I mean, whether we like it or not, it's not the prettiest, but he's a damn good quarterback. He makes some really good decisions and makes some he doesn't make the best throws all the time, but for the most part, he does exactly what you want in a quarterback, and that's not turn the ball over. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too far into the Baker. We got all off season to talk about that.
True. That's fair. We can leave it at that. But I mean, listen. Well, one more year. I mean, if nothing better comes along, you guys don't have the opportunity. One more year, ride with Baker. Hope he comes back off the injury healthy, and let's see. You guys have pieces, young talent. Anything's possible, like you said. Runs are possible.
Anything's possible. We'll leave it off with
We'll
y'all
see.
need Carr. Yeah, I mean, hey, I take Carr, Jason. But
Yeah, for sure.
right. I think a lot of the teams would take Carr. I appreciate everybody in the YouTube chat. My TikTok went off, so if you came over from TikTok to YouTube, I appreciate you guys. Next podcast will be obviously sometime later in the week, either Friday or Saturday before the game. Is there a game Saturday or are they both Sunday?
Both games are Sunday.
Okay, so at the latest, the podcast will be Saturday to do our predictions. Drop any questions or comments in the description of this or in the comment section of the video that you want us to answer next podcast, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode of the Crockpot Podcast, baby. Peace out.